Hello everybody, welcome to William the Bastard Reveals. Today we're going to be talking about satellite light pulse technology, new military weapons that are basically cutting edge, top of the line mental psyops, advanced psyops, as well as holographic technologies which are semi-tangible and will allow the operators to actually make physical contact with you without even being there. Welcome to William the Bastard Reveals. So since we're talking about the newer technologies that are affecting citizens and targets alike today, I'd like to start by saying now there's several different ways which these can be delivered. They can be delivered by what are known as laser pulse weapons. As a matter of fact, there are gaming systems out there that make use of light pulse technology. If you can remember back when we were kids, I'm 38 years old. Back when I was a kid, about 12 years old, back in the 80s, they had this thing called Captain Power and a couple other games like it where you would deliver a light pulse from a gun and hit something with it, and it would be a receptor, and if that receptor went off, that means you hit your target. Now, you would have to have a receptor and a gun, and you'd get together with your friends and you'd play this game. This was for middle class kids. This wasn't for poor kids. I got lucky in this department, man. I had some grandparents that seen to it that I really got showered with some gifts there for a while, and of course, being a kid, that was great. But anyhow, what I'm getting at is these very same things, of course, are even being used today by the Nerf company for hologram projection. And we're going to talk a little bit about holograms, light pulses, layered frequency, all that coming right up. What are light pulses exactly? Well, light pulse technology has been around a very long time. Now, its capabilities have expanded over the years, of course. And there's been a lot of technological upgrading to the system of light pulse technology. Light pulses, basically we deal with them every day, and we really don't know it. But they have a lot to do with our cable and satellite reception we get to our homes. Light pulses to the cable customer, for example, would be a receiving dish at your local broadcast company that receives a broadcast signal via satellite. That signal is beamed up into the sky to that satellite, down to your receiving dish that gets the broadcast, and that is sent through a network of fiber optic cables. Those fiber optic cables deliver the light pulse into your cable box on the outside of your home or apartment or whatever have you, and then that cable box sends through the fiber optic cables. If you receive your high-speed internet, for example, if you receive your cable television, if you receive whatever have you, your Netflix, whatever, through a cable system such as Time Warner or Frontier or Verizon or a number of different companies, AT&T, basically you receive these light pulses through phone lines and through fiber optic cable. Now, fiber optic cable has come a long way, and it too is improving. And in some areas, they got even newer fiber optic systems out, and they have a lot more speed of delivery than, say, your common old school phone lines dial up from the 90s and early 2000s. We've come a long way since then. And also, this is common that we receive light pulse delivered broadcasts via our satellite dishes if we're satellite customers. Now, these light pulses are also used in other systems like military radar and Doppler radar for weather, Wi-Fi signal. All of these wireless internet of any kind, basically our cellular communication systems to our cell phones, how our cell phones ring. It is also carried by light pulse. We cannot always see these light pulses. Most common people can't see the light pulses. But some people have reported being able to see them. Some people have even claimed to see Wi-Fi before. Now, all of this is kind of connected together. And the reason why we know so little about it is really, we don't really think about how we get it so much as we get it. Now, a cable installer or a satellite worker, they can tell you a little bit more about it. They're a little bit more knowledgeable about these things. But, however, the general thing that I have found out is I took a walk one night during my harassment. I was a targeted individual for a long time, and I received a lot of mental torture. And what I did one night was I walked out to see what I could possibly learn about the capabilities of being able to receive light pulses away from telegraph poles, away from electronic devices. I've talked about voice to skull, remote neural monitoring, other things, but I wanted to elaborate a little bit on this subject. It's pretty vague and very little understood. Now, you got to understand that light pulses are carriers of information, and everything runs off frequency. In fact, the human body, the heart rate, the brain, the lung, everything in our body reverberates a low-end frequency. The human body itself, our bioelectrical field, reverberates on a low-end frequency. Now, light pulses are not only capable of carrying data, but they can also carry layered frequency. And that means that basically you could be receiving a broadcast, but somebody could piggyback another broadcast or something into that frequency. This is called frequency layering, or doubling the frequency, or piggybacking the frequency. Now, frequency layering is a little bit more complex. That means they can layer multiple frequencies into a single light pulse that is delivered. Now, of course, it's easy to deliver such things into our home, into our computer screens. People can sometimes get a flash of light that goes into the visual cortex and actually follows into the neural pathways. And a state of subduction or remote hypnosis and remote telepathy can be achieved through these technologies. If the frequencies are layered, like say you're watching a broadcast, and most people that call themselves TIs have experienced this. You're listening or watching to a broadcast, and if the person in the car with you or in the room with you hears the broadcast, they're going to hear what the majority of people hear on that broadcast. But you, being a target, may receive layered frequency. And layered frequency, while one person says there is... While one person says there is stones to throw in the pond, they may say, boom, I click the hammer and you're gone. Henceforth, it rhymes, and it's on the same general sonic level. But you're hearing something totally different than the people in the room around you or the people in the vehicle around you. And it will be designed just to hit your ears. Now, how that's achieved, I've talked about before. It's kinetic tracking, GPS. I wanted to find out the capabilities of this. And some people have claimed, about seeing specters and seeing demons or visuals or holograms. And I want to let everybody know this is absolutely a capability. Only in the last year or two, this has gotten a lot more expanded. technology's come a lot further. Okay, basically holograms. There are two different kinds. You got light pulse holograms, which just deliver the visual information. And this is delivered either going into your ear kinetically, into your temporal lobe, or through a screen or a light fixture, anything that is electric. You can receive the light pulse into your visual cortex. It goes down your iris, into your eye, into the back of your brain. Boom! Okay, all of a sudden you're seeing hallucinations that are not there. They really prefer to keep this on the DL though, and not really let people know that they're able to do this. So what they like to do is wait for the person to be drunk, or maybe under the influence of medications or other things, or illegal street drugs, and then they really like to start goofing with you at that point. And that way it kind of makes it look like they can pass it off to be the drug or the alcohol or whatever, and they can kind of keep it on the DL and make you look like a codependent, whatever. You know how these people are if you're a TI. I experienced all of these things during my harassment. But there is another type of hologram that's not just a carrier of information and general hallucinations. These newer holograms, this cutting edge technology I'm about to tell you about, can actually come at you and you can feel it. You can sense it. It can give you the creepy crawlies just like a real spirit's there. You can get the cold chills, so to speak, as people talk about during ghostly encounters. And yes, they have the capability to give you the sensation as they even touch your skin or body. They can actually infiltrate your bodily space in a semi-tangible holographic form. Now, this is a very vague and very little is understood about the science. Like I said, it's very cutting edge. It's very new, but it's starting to happen to TIs more and more often. And I talked to people that have personally had this experience. And I myself, during my harassment, had this experience. And what it is you can actually feel like somebody's touching you. You can actually feel somebody maybe even grab you, push you, shove you. This has been more commonly reported in the last 2 to 3 years. And it's really coming a long way since then. It's becoming more and more and more common. They can reach inside and shut down your bodily organs with this technology, people. People that have leaked this information to the public have wound up dead. There's been doctors that have worked for the government, scientists, and if they talk about this too much, all of a sudden, boom, they're turning up dead here and there. It's very, very sad, and this needs to be more addressed. Now, this holographic stuff, I have noticed this. This is my personal experience that I will venture out on a limb and tell you a little bit about. My personal experience is when I went on this walk, I went out into this field completely alone, away from the power lines, away from the electronics. I live in a semi-rural area. I live in a pretty good-sized country town, and I decided to walk to the outskirts, into the meadows, the fields, the farmland, and just to see if there were other ways that TIs might be able to receive frequency. And what I discovered was there is. And it is delivered via these remote holograms. It is almost actually like they remote control themselves or a person. Now, they can get within 30 to 50 to 100 feet of you. GPS tracking methods like I've described before in other videos, and they can shoot a light pulse down straight out of the satellite, straight out of the sky, right down in your vicinity. And then that remote person, that remote hologram, that semi-tangible form, can actually approach you. And this was my experience. It approached me, and it communicated with me. In fact, it was so creepy, it looked me right in the face. Now, these things will try to swear and pass themselves off as spiritual activity. as demons, as dead relatives. Don't believe any of this bullshit. I'm telling you that's not true. This is just their layered frequency in concurrence with these holograms. And they will go very far out. This goes into advanced psychological warfare. On the American public, on the European public, on whatever country you might be in if you're experiencing this. These people have achieved this. They can actually put a headset on or put some kind of cast or form on where they can basically, without having to actually remote view, without having to actually have the psychic power to do this naturally, can come to you and approach you and mess with you really, really hard. And I just wanted to let other TIs know out there if they experience this, because I experienced it during my time as a targeted individual. If you experience this, don't freak out. Don't get scared. It is a very unnerving experience. Believe me, I know. I found out that these light pulses were coming directly out of the sky. There were no clouds that night. Absolutely no storms, no weather, no wind, so to speak. But I seen these light pulses coming down in my vicinity, and they would strike the ground. And I'm telling you, I know they're semi-tangible because as these holograms approach me, as they approached, I could hear the leaves rustle, the sticks break, just almost like human weight. I'm not kidding you, folks. This is creepy, creepy stuff we're dealing with. And they're pulling off and they're doing it. Get ready, because the age of the semi-tangible hologram, the remote human being, the light pulse, it is here. They can do amazing stuff with this technology that we never knew they could.